What if I told you that one of America's most legendary car companies helped fuel Hitler's rise to power? Yes, we're talking about Henry Ford and his shocking ties to Nazi Germany. This isn't conspiracy, it's history. Stick around, because at the end I'll reveal a bonus story that will blow your mind about how Ford's name was actually celebrated inside Nazi Germany itself. Before we dive in, do you think Ford's actions were motivated by business or actual ideology? Comment below. I want to see what you think.
In 1899, my grandfather, Henry by God Ford, was walking home from Edison Illumination after working a double shift. He was ruminating. That morning, he had himself an idea that changed the world. 65 years and 47 million automobiles later, what shall be his legacy? Getting it in the tailpipe from a Chevy Impala.
Let's rewind. By the 1920s, Henry Ford wasn't just a car maker. He was one of the most powerful businessmen in the world. He revolutionized the assembly line and made cars affordable for everyday people. But behind the success was a darker side. Ford was openly anti-Semitic. He even published a series of writings called The International Jew, which spread hateful propaganda worldwide. Guess who admired these writings? Adolf Hitler himself. In fact, Hitler praised Ford in Mein Kampf, calling him an inspiration. Business with the enemy. When the Nazis rose to power in the 1930s, Ford's German subsidiary, Ford Work, was already there. And while other companies cut ties, Ford kept doing business. The company supplied vehicles and machinery that Germany desperately needed to prepare for war. By the time World War II began, Ford's German factories were producing vehicles used by the Nazi military. That's right, the cars driving Nazi troops across Europe often came straight from Ford factories.
Have you ever seen this film before from the Ford archives? Because it is a prime example of Henry Ford making people think he was doing one thing when it's really another outcome he was achieving. It starts here with a couple 29 AA's unloading car haulers full of dilapidated vehicles. It eventually goes on to show these junk jalopies being unceremoniously stripped down and smashed before being dropped into a furnace without any bit of reverence. While Henry did recycle a lot of scrap, including a large fleet of decommissioned World War I Navy ships, his motive in scrapping these cars wasn't necessarily to get cheap material. It was to sell cars he had already built. You see, in the 1920s, Ford Motor Company had an inventory problem. A used car inventory problem.
Henry Ford and Hitler. In 1938, something shocking happened. Hitler's regime awarded Henry Ford the Grand Cross of the German Eagle, the highest honor the Nazis could give to a foreigner. Imagine that, an American businessman receiving Nazi Germany's most prestigious medal. And yes, Ford accepted it. Here's a question for you. Do you think Ford should have been prosecuted after the war for helping the Nazis, or was it just business as usual? Drop your answer in the comments. I'll be reading them.
A 125-mile-an-hour wind is roaring past you, with gusts up to 140 miles an hour smashing into the grille, sucking at the hood latches, doors, windows, trunk, searching for weakness. Want some rain? Here's a monsoon. How about Death Valley? Suddenly, it's 120 degrees outside your car. But it isn't really like Death Valley. There's no sun. Sorry, there is sun.
The controversy after the war. After the war, Ford claimed it had lost control of its German operations, but historians argue otherwise. Evidence shows Ford Work continued to profit during the Nazi years. Even worse, the company was accused of using forced labor, prisoners of war who were made to work under brutal conditions. While some American companies were investigated, Ford largely avoided major consequences. The U.S. government prioritized rebuilding industry over punishing corporations. Here's the bonus twist I promised. In 1931, Adolf Hitler kept a life-size portrait of Henry Ford in his office. He reportedly admired Ford so much that on his 75th birthday in 1938, Nazis threw celebrations in Ford's honor inside Germany. Imagine that. The man who gave us the Model T, also celebrated by the Third Reich.
While you're walking, I want you to ruminate. Man comes to my office with an idea, that man keeps his job. Rest of you second-best losers, stay home. You don't belong in Ford.
So was Ford just a businessman trying to protect his empire? Or was he complicit in supporting one of the darkest regimes in history? That's for you to decide. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Should Ford's legacy be celebrated or tarnished forever? If you found this video eye-opening, smash that like button, share it with a friend, and subscribe, because we've got even more shocking hidden histories coming your way. Trust me, the next one will make this look tame.
Same strength and payload, only F-Series has been #1 for 29 years running. F-150, America's strongest truck, is built Ford tough.
That's it, boys. Bat it out for second place.